I'm back. I had to lower the sound a little bit because it was too much. But I'm back. I know my lips just don't, please. I either need a really nice professional, a professional who can help me, or I need to get addicted to these YouTube tutorials because, or at least buy a lip liner to make sure that this most dangerous red lipstick is not going all over my lips and starts its own journey off the track. Just anybody who's just leave me alone for now. I'm just doing my due diligence of self-love and self-care as much as I can do it in my own way. Okay? So it's really weird. I'm just trying to, yeah. It's really weird what I'm going through now, and I wanted to talk to you about this. I'm not just going through my own death. The death of my old self that I'm still pretty much grieving. Everything that I ever been so far in my whole life, I'm grieving, and it's still dying. I'm still in that process of letting go of everything that I ever embodied in my whole life. And yet, I'm getting ready to embody someone absolutely new, absolutely different, and this person each and every day is kind of a little bit overwhelming me and puts me under a beautiful spell, an excitement, a feeling of gratitude, a feeling of peace, and as well as light. I really love, I'm really getting to know this new person, and I'm kind of falling in love with this new person at the same time. And I really do feel that I want to get to know her more and more, deeper and deeper. But yet, I'm still going through the leftovers. You know, when someone dies and you need to deal with all the things that it's left to be done after their death, after them passed away. You need to deal with their clothing, you know, the wardrobes, all of those things that they left behind in the physical, even in the mental realms, and as well as in the emotional realms. So I'm more or less kind of done with the emotional self grieving, and I grieved also almost all of these people who been linked with me and with that old self that I used to embody and used to know. But at the same time, I really do feel that it's still some big circling back around is yet to come, because of the fact that I'm soon visiting my hometown, and not for the greatest reasons, not for the best reasons, but essentially and originally I was planning to go back home for a very much pleasant reason, to to visit my mom, my family, my sister and her family, and to just finally close out this extremely painful and long cycle that I had to almost pull myself and pull myself through. This Sekhmet meditation is really helping me. The whole day I was doing extreme, not extreme, but uh, I I was dedicating this day to be an absolute self-care and self-love routine day, because I'm still taking this herbal medicine Haritaki, and it really helps me to purge from my lower chakras, especially the root, the sacral chakra, as well as the solar plexus. But the solar plexus, I already can feel it and see it. That is really nicely healing, and I'm recovering a lot of things about myself, and I'm integrating a lot of things, and I'm absolutely feel good in my being and in myself, even though I have no idea what what I'm doing sometimes and where I'm going towards and what is waiting for me. I'm living my every bit of minutes, minuscule moments, seconds, and minuscule experiences according to the unknown, like sorry, like I'm properly existing and living and breathing through every single unknown moment, second by second, because I really don't have any clue what is coming to me. I have my plans, I have my intentions, long term and short term. Every single day I pray about my intentions and about my gratitude, but that's it, that's all what I know. And I'm really sure that you are uh, going through this, or at least very, very similar things, and you you might just need to hear this message. I really was uh, called to. Now my nose is itching so badly. So I would say spirit is very much present now, and and I'm hoping that this could be actually a good message, or something that you need to hear from. Yeah, that this message is addressing you and whatever you're going through at the moment. I have so much death around me at this moment. I received a very unpleasant news 2 days ago about my godmother. She's basically dying in the hospital. She's already in the hospital for a month now, which was really shocking for me to know that my relatives didn't let me know this earlier. Maybe they didn't think that it would be good for me to know, because they didn't know what was happening to my godmother. But and unfortunately we didn't have that close connection, especially since my dad died, which is over now. It's over a decade, and that since my dad died, that was actually a great break, a great a great disaster. A great disaster for everyone, pretty much, in the family. Let alone talking about me. It actually took me a decade to to even accept and even to acknowledge the fact that he wasn't anymore around. I haven't just lost my father, but I felt that I lost every hope that I had about my whole life. Now, to truly understand what I'm talking about right now, is that you might already know and aware of that my teachings are based on, and you yourself probably at a level of consciousness and a level of spiritual knowledge and wisdom yourself, that you're aware of the, the main principalities of life, the two main principalities and principles, creation principles of life, meaning the divine feminine principle and the divine masculine principle. And when I'm talking about that, I felt that I lost all hope for the rest of my life, for all of my possible potential future. At that time I felt like that. I truly mean it in the aspects of the divine masculine principle that was placed in my life, placed into my existence since my birth, since my physical existence. And even kind of in all aspects of my life, you know, the main engine of the divine masculine operating in our lives in different aspects of self and in within your lifestyle as well. So so I gone through an exceptionally major trauma that is actually activated my spiritual awakening a decade ago. And that spiritual awakening was just really, you know, these tiny sprouts started to grow out of the ground, and it started to open up my eyes to a different reality, a completely different way of perceiving who I am, who my dad was, and who my father is, because he's still living, but in a different aspect of himself and embodiment, basically. In his spirit, because as I'm opened up and got into the awareness of my psychic nature and the gifts and all the talents and skills that I always been having, but I didn't know about that. Nobody told me about that. Nobody taught me about that. None of these support systems back then were existing as freely, openly, and streamed all over the world, freely and unapologetically, that I could, you know, I actually didn't have any support system at all, any knowledge, any wisdom or information whatsoever. Internet wasn't even a thing back then, even back then, that much tapped into the spiritual aspects of life and the knowledge wasn't even there. Doesn't matter how much we might already been using internet as a as a as a as a tool for many different reasons. So anyway, back to the main thing is that his passing brought me into a completely different world and opened up so much within my consciousness, within my psyche, and activated an absolutely mind-blowing journey that I'm keep traveling through and through. And yeah, he was my very first catalyst and the very first trauma that I couldn't actually even comprehend at that time. I didn't even know what is actually going on with me and my life. How is this even possible? You know, I never believed, or I never even engaged with the thought of losing my father, or in fact losing any family members that apart from my grandparents, or apart from, you know, generation beyond my parents. It wasn't natural to even think about it, or have any thought about that. Never. And it was just so shocking. He obviously developed a brain tumor. They call it polyp in Hungarian, but anyway, I don't have to tell this because most of you maybe don't even understand what I'm trying to say. So basically, the brain tumor that he's got diagnosed with, it turned out to be was so developed already in the time of diagnosis that literally that tumor was growing and expanding or spreading all over his brain, actually. Not just his brain, but his skull. And that was, according to the doctors back at that time, and still actually, it's kind of the very last stages, the very final stages of a cancer being diagnosed. I never actually talked about this before, but that took me, initially, it took me like at least 2 to 5 years to even engaging with the thought that he's gone. So even when he was already paused, like that for 5 years, I still couldn't make myself realize that he is actually gone. Like, hello, wake up, Kate, wake up. He's gone. He's not just at home and you are living in a different country. It's not like that you're having some distance between you and him, but he is gone. And even though I'm very much psychic, and I was dreaming with him like every single day. I mean, every single night. I was dreaming with him every single night. I had constant dreams with him. And now because I learned so much about dreams and dream interpretation and how much it's basically the way how passed away souls in spirit comes to you and helping you with the integration, the grieving the passed on loved one, and so on and so forth. I understood basically why he was constantly in my dreams, and that was the way how to recover for the time that we never had, because we took the time that we had on earth for granted. We didn't really had the chance. We didn't create the chance to be with each other, to live life to the fullest in terms of being daughter, father. And in our family, death was always one of the main reasons that brought us together. Sadly, always death was the only thing that truly brought us together. And it's proving to be true all over again. That nobody has, in our family, nobody really has time or means
uh, and yeah, mostly financial means to truly be with one another. And my godmother has been diagnosed with the same exact thing, uh, what my father, and she, on the top of that, she got a stroke, and now her whole left side is absolutely, um, how do you say this in English? Numb, or it's out of order. And she is now completely, let's say, under the mercy of God. And that's why it's so important, you see. That's why it's so important to unlock, heal, and process these ancestral curses, ancestral karma, because she's been always so strong and fierce, a fierce, truly fierce woman. I got so many badass women in my family, truly beautiful, truly sincere, truly benevolent, truly hardworking, truly giving, loving, courageous, strong like titanium woman. Because obviously they had to be strong no matter what was happening around them, right? You need to be strong. Doesn't matter what is going on around you. Doesn't matter what is going around in the world. Doesn't matter what is going around behind closed doors. Doesn't matter what is going around and around and around and around. Karma. You you are the one who can unlock your your strength and full potentiality by being your strong self in spirit. Now, obviously, we are absolutely blessed. Oh, absolutely blessed, gifted, and crowned. I heard this word, crowned, with the help and support from our ancestors, benevolent spirits, and support team in the spiritual realms, in the spirit. But the elders, previous generations, especially my mom's age, my parents' age, as well as my godmother in that similar age, by the way, as my parents. Uh, they hardly had any knowledge or awareness of this support system, that it's there for them no matter what. Because if we go back to ancient times and previous, historical times, we can definitely see that they had their own traditions. They kept it through folklore, music, ritualistic lifestyle, especially in the village era, when it wasn't many cities to blend into. These smaller communities had their own tribal mindsets and their precious little gifts, skills and talents and spiritual knowledge that they could, without any boundaries, without any limits, they could teach newer generations into these precious, spiritually rich traditions, cultural codes, vibrational codes, spiritual codes. But you see, my parents' generation was completely abandoned in this meaning, and they literally don't have any clue what they could have done differently. They don't even understand what is going on with them. Why am I struck and tested so much? What I did wrong? So death is just, I'm telling you, is just for me it's an everyday scenario. I don't fear death at all. Have nothing to fear. For the past decade, I had to die and I had to see death so much and so many times. I had to go through it. I had to experience on myself and others that I literally have nothing left to fear. It's death killed all fear from my whole being. Everything is killed completely. Nothing is left. Nothing is left. Nothing is left. Just ashes. Just a sec. I'm gonna make this video. I'm gonna wait till it's gonna skip to another. Yeah, we like whales. Do you like whales? have to go now for a second. But I'm coming back. I'm back. So, yeah, death, right? So, I'm basically, it's so interesting that this this brain cancer thing, it's just happened 10 years ago when I started my spiritual awakening, and everything completely went, turned upside down in my life, and a whole lot of cleansing and healing and childhood trauma work surfaced for me, and I had to drop everything else. Doesn't matter how I was planning my life or what was going on for me at that moment when this entered into my life. I just had to say goodbye to every single thing that was going on for me and drop everything and choose me. And this spiritual mission that I've put on out of nowhere, and then that whole cycle, this cyclical thing, the growing and expansion and shedding, and then further expanding and shedding again my skin, everything was shedding to the very, 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 I can't even say that I was naked, because there is no, even the bones are disappearing from my own old structure, from my old skeleton. I don't even have the skeleton left. I no matter how hard I try to trace it back, I have no skeleton left. Not especially not in the closet, In you can hear this saying a lot, skeletons in the closet, but I can truly say that at this point nothing can what is that? Nothing can shake my feathers, ruffle my feathers, because there are no feathers. I have no feathers left. I'm growing the feathers back because I got my wings back. I'm growing my wings. My guide's saying I'm developing my wings. And probably, yeah, that's what is going on indeed. In the development of that wing that can fly me away
further and further and higher from the ashes that's been left. Literally, I was just looking at the ashes, I mean the remains of my ex-partner's cat, because we lost him too. We lost his cat too. That was also an absolute traumatic experience, even though we didn't have a closely intimate everyday connection with the cat. I absolutely was traumatized, because obviously it just the everything that I couldn't truly so far understood about death, and that whatever I went through up till that point, all of those grieving, all of that sadness that I still had felt like I had to suppress within my being because of life and whatever life brought to me to deal with on an everyday basis. All of my plans, all of my dreams that I felt like, okay, now I really need to pull myself together, and I cannot just grieve this death thing so much, like I'm depressed because of depression's sake. I always needed this deep rest for only to realize that death is still dealing with me. Death is still dealing with me, and all the parts of myself that I'm not benefiting from anymore, any longer. And I'm just gonna, I'm already writing a book about this, because this topic is just so huge for me. It's just so huge that I cannot have the luxury not to talk about this. I need to switch rooms just a sec. I'm back. There's a lot of changes. Yeah, so I had to go through a lot of grief, and I'm still purging. I still feel the purging or from my heart chakra. Especially today, I was really angry. I felt really angry, and not I was, but I felt. I had the feeling. I had that energy in motion coming up to the surface. So I had to deal with that as well. And I lost my train of thoughts. I was talking about that a decade ago. it was starting with one of my loved ones passing in brain cancer, and now again, as I'm about to close out a really painful, the most painful cycle and decade of my present entire life, is again ending with the news from coming from another loved one who I'm getting ready to say goodbye to, and who is also diagnosed with brain cancer and many other things, because I was talking about that she had to go through lots of losses and many, she was battling already many times actually, cancer. She got breast cancer, as long as I know, 3 times. And the doctors could help her, and she recovered. She is really strong. But lately, this it's time. I know it's time. It's time to go now. It's time for her to go. This is really happening. This is really happening. I don't really feel anything, actually. It's really interesting to live in this pure unknown space, in this state where all of your dreams, whatever ever you dreamed of, is actually here for you. It's ready to be co-created and manifested into your physical life experience, but at the same time you are not fully pulled out of life how it was and ever would be. You are not pulled out of this, the duality of it, but you actually gained so much perspective, gained so much wisdom, learned so many lessons, and learned so much spiritually, even mentally, emotionally, and physically. You've been trained so heavily and so precisely that you are now basically able to see it with, like, it's really weird to talk about this and say it, especially as a spiritually aware uh, human goddess being, because let's face it, we are now literally stepping into our god goddess self. We are not anymore dominantly in our lower nature, and things are shifting, but this shift is so drastic and so enlightening at the same time that you have this absolute higher perspective about anything and everything that is happening in your life every day. Doesn't matter, even if you have things to still work through, because we are ever growing, ever expanding beings. It's never gonna end. We need to, if you haven't been able to drop it completely, I'm here to tell you that this is a big, big task for everybody here, even the most ascended human beings on the planet right now. They also need to consider the fact that growth and expansion is never going to end. We never going to reach a destination as such. We're gonna only capable and able to reach goals according to our human construct and human concept and the way of perceiving our own little humanoid reality, even if it's within our goddess and god consciousness dominantly from now on. We are still humans, and this pure vulnerability that you have within you, that you must carry even in your very last minutes that you are given on this earth, you still you still have the memory of you feeling weak and feeling vulnerable, and this is the key basically for us to elevate beyond any limitations of ours that we gain through our lives and experiences that we gone through. think actually I don't even need to talk more at the moment. I think I leave it that right there. Yes, my life is absolutely ready to turn upside down, and I have all the reasons to be frightened, but at the same time, kind of excited, a little bit anxious. They told me it's gonna be an adventure. I can't wait for that adventure that starts with the death of my family member. Um, I don't even know how to say um, how to say sorts of goodbye now, because this was really deep, isn't it? This was also really I really put myself out there now. I hope you like this. Though I'm not doing this for your entertainment, but I don't mean it like that. I hope that you receive everything that your soul needs right now, you know, that it's feeding into you as much as I feel that it's healing. And I'm with this series of videos, I'm literally doing something that I never done ever before, apart from when I did with my very, very close friends who I don't have any longer since my spiritual awakening journey. This is not normal for me to do at all. So I want you to be aware of this, that whatever I do in these recorded videos, everything that I speak about, everything that I channel about, everything that I share is beyond intimate, and I do it intentionally, and I do it because I'm guided to do so. And this is allows me to not just to work through the opening of my heart chakra, but to open myself up to whoever I need to, my soul tribe, you, to give you through my journey. I'm getting emotional now. And to finally share bits of me with those who truly deserve it,
you know, who truly um, deserving to receive my energy and everything that I put out. This is truly an intimate space. This is about our soul journey to inspire us, to gain perspective, to gain power, and to empower each other and ourselves to go on and on and on this least easy journey and become our greatest, best version of ourselves. I'm truly believe and I hope that I'm doing a great job here serving myself. It really does help me. It really does grow me. And I do believe and I hope that I'm giving you at least, if not everything, at least a portion of the mixture of all that you need to receive each and every time. I'm going now. I still have this workshop is actually gonna be open really soon. Not just yet, because I have to deal with some private life matters, as you know now. I'm going through a lot, so I keep my focus on myself mainly, and just take my time, be compassionate and loving with myself as well as my environment and the whole these changes and transitions that I am going through. These are huge changes. I'm going to report about, or at least aspects of that, these things that are coming to me and going through in the near future. I'm definitely gonna create a way of a communication channel for these matters, because these are, you know, every experience that you're going through, they are so precious that that's all that you, and the greatest gift that you can actually share with your fellow human being today on this earth. So I'm gonna update you about all the services and programs I'm actually intend to launch and make public in the near future. And just take care of yourself, be with yourself and with everybody who is important for you, everything that is important for you, because that is the only thing that matters,
and that is the only thing that is going to bring you to the next level, to your further journey and path on your expansion, on your self expansion. Alright? Um, I'm gonna finish at this moment. Just take care of you and love you. See you next.